So today I wanted to talk about frequency. So this is a spinning, we do a spinning meditation here. And if you're new, this is a spin-off of well, I do the Bengston Method, which involves a spinning meditation. But for the purposes of this group, you don't have to have a workshop in his method. You just have to be able to imagine a ball or a disc of spinning light that you put behind your head. And you can start doing that now. That would be great. All right. So you can do that while I'm talking. You can have that disc of light spinning. So in my world, as I'm a sound healer, right? So I used to be senior faculty at the 𝗥𝗲𝗀𝗃𝗃 Institute of Integrative Medicine. And I knew how to treat anything with sound, literally anything. I knew about intervals, I learned about frequencies, I learned about archetypes, I learned about, and more than that, the sound taught me, like working with the frequencies taught me so much about the whole span of heaven to earth. It really taught me more than my acupuncture training did. My acupuncture training was still very mental and directive, and my sound healing training taught me about resonance and how to tell if it was the right sound and how to tell if the frequency was working. So I've kind of put that into my spinning meditations, and I've learned that frequency matters, like how fast you spin your disc of light matters, but only sometimes. It's kind of like art, or it is art. Like if you were like a 5-year-old and you were doing a painting, you would have a strong opinion of whether you wanted to paint with blue or yellow, probably. Or you would just be playing and exploring, like, oh, look what blue does. Oh, and blue is dancing with the yellow. And you'd be playfully noticing the differences. And if you were 5, you might not notice, you might not have an agenda of what colors to play with. So, it's blue and yellow, like, oh, look at that, green's happening, isn't that nice? You would just be playing with it. And in some ways, that is the purest form. But how do you become aware of frequency enough to play with it? Like when we're doing art, you can see the blue and the yellow become green, or they become darker or lighter, or, our visual system gives us all this feedback. But how do you get the feedback you need with the frequency so that you can play with it? How do you develop those organs of perception? And how do you know what frequency to do it at? Like, that's like a big deal, right? Like, is there a better frequency? So my thoughts on this are way more than what we can do in 4 more minutes, but as quick as I can. Sound and frequency connects us from the world of the earth and sub-earth to the world of what I call the heavens and beyond the heavens, into a place of non-duality where there is no light and dark and up and down. In Chinese Taoism, they call it the wu-qi. In some Western traditions, they call it the oneness, like God is one thing. And as soon as you come into duality, you've got something, and then you're able to manage it and do stuff. And I would say that when you ask some lofty principle, you actually receive. You send something out through all that. The asking is a vibrational, or at least an astral asking. It goes into that place that's beyond places, and then it echoes back. And as it echoes back, it enters into the world of vibration. And vibration is frequency. Vibration is back and forth, right? And things that oscillate at one speed look different than things that oscillate at a different speed. So you know this well in light, like green oscillates at a different frequency than red or yellow. And ultraviolet light is yet a different frequency. And sound is way lower than light. And the speed of a blender is even lower. Well, actually might not be. The speed of a bicycle is lower. The speed of your heart beating is lower. That's like 60 times a minute. That's lower. Your breathing frequency is only 6 times a minute. These are averages, of course. Anyway, so you have all these cycles that are kind of what the information, it's like a mechanism that the information comes into. And you can set your spinner in your imagination to spin at a speed that will be helpful. And the way you do that is you ask, and then the way you tell that it feels right is you notice it shift. So right now, I'd like you all to, in preparation for our walk, our guided visualization, I'd like you all to feel your spinner behind your head. Just put it behind your head. I know it can go other places, but just put it behind your head so that we're all a little similar here, so that we're resonating, right? Resonance has to do with similarity. And just put it behind your head. And now make it go about as fast as a bicycle tire going down the road. So it's a little blurry. Now make it go as fast as a blender. And now make it go, slow it down to this bicycle speed. Now blender speed. Now the speed of green, which I don't quite remember. It might be 4.9 times 10 to the 14th cycles per second, which is faster than I can think in terms of bzzz, round and round and round. It's no longer mechanical, it's more energetic. And notice that when you're spinning at the speed of green, it feels different than when you're spinning at the speed of a blender. And can people type in the chat if you can feel the difference in those two speeds? One is way faster than the other. And you can kind of, in your imagination, your body responds to the different frequencies. And maybe you have to toggle it on a couple times. So fast and slow. And most people I coach, I don't know that it's landing here in this group teaching, so let me know if you're confused. And I'll say it again in a different way. But most people can tell the difference between as it changes, as it slows down, or as it changes. Once it's like set at a speed, it's like it doesn't really, it seems to almost disappear, and you lose touch with it a little bit, which is why it's important to have a living relationship, because living beings are always shifting in their frequencies. They're always aligning with different things all the time. And that's what makes this work, so it doesn't disappear. And then the nothing you're doing is just nothing. It's not that, vast nothingness. It's just, doing anything. Okay, good. I got a couple people joining me. I don't feel everybody doing this. Toggle it back and forth, please. Really fast as the speed of green. Spin your disc of light. And now slow it down to the speed of a blender. Okay, and now comes the magic, all right? That's just to get you feeling, and you really can feel it. I haven't met anybody that can't feel that. And if you can't feel it, then you're just trying too hard or something. All right, now you're just spinning your disc of light. And now I'd like you to ask it to spin at a frequency that will help the healing of everybody on the list that has requested healing. Emma says she feels it. And notice that you can tell if your spinner just got faster or slower. And that's feedback. That's a living relationship to this idea of something spinning very fast. It shifted with your in response to your question or your request. And I feel like that connection to the shift is part of what helps the healing. So you don't just say, okay, please spin at the speed that will help the healing, and then you don't pay attention. It's like paying attention and going, ooh, it went faster. Ooh, it slowed down. That connection, that intimacy is part of the thread that brings heaven to earth. Okay? And if this feels too hard, you're trying too hard. Okay? All right, good. All right, now, keeping your spinner spinning at the speed that will benefit the healing of everybody. Now let's talk about that. The speed of every individual's healing might be slightly different. But we're in this group, it's a group healing. There's going to be a note that helps, because we're in this shape, there's going to be a frequency that helps this shape all advance forward, and a rising tide lifts all boats. It's going to be good for everybody. But if we were all separate, we might have very different speeds. And then the next glitch, not glitch, but the thing is that you got to let it change moment to moment to moment. So the frequency that your spinner's spinning right now for the benefit of everybody whose name was on the list might be different in a minute or two. Okay, so you have to sort of keep that request for healing active. And then you can get the feedback. You can tell if your spinner's going faster or not. Okay, now I'm going to make you do something else too, if that wasn't hard enough. You don't have to do this. You can just listen if it's too hard, especially if you're too sick. You know, like, please don't worry about it. We're taking care of you. Those of us who can do this, who do this all the time, are taking care of you if this is too hard for you, if you're too sick, and you're very welcome here. All right, so now I'd like us to do a guided visualization. The purpose of the guided visualization is to have a similar story to resonate with while we're spinning. And the purpose of the spinning is so that we can feel and connect to something that's beyond spinning. Because it's not like the frequency's making it happen, it's a response to what's happening. And so we want to kind of bask in that receptivity. And yeah. And if you're really curious about this, we can have a private session and I can help you play with it. Just like one session and you'll be in a different world with your spinning. All right, so now let's do this guided visualization. So